Hi there, this is Sheri Lee Myers. Welcome to How to Connect with Angels. We created this podcast because we believe that no matter what, every person has the love and help of angels, God's messengers. Angels are everywhere, if we are willing to ask. That's what our film, The Glitch, is all about. Visit us at theglitchmovie.com and sign up for our newsletter about our future filming here in New Orleans. But now, right now, let's talk to someone who is devoted to helping us make that divine connection. Simon Clarke is an intuitive channel and healer from Manchester, England. He specializes in distant healing in his own form of Reiki, SiReiki, that he has developed. With this form of healing, Simon works alongside the angels and guides while using the gifts of the earth to promote deep healing and well-being. Simon Clarke's first book, SiReiki, A New Journey, is available on Amazon.
I have one book that I've written, and I have two that I'm working on.
What's the one you've written?
It's called SiReiki, A New Journey.
Ah, okay.
It's a book to either start or reignite your passion for Reiki in the way that looked at in the SiReiki ethos. It's a gentle introduction to the system as well. It kind of covers my viewpoint. It kind of covers a kind of tipping your toes into the SiReiki system, which is basically my take on the Usui system of Reiki, slightly adapted through guidance and discovery. Mm-hmm. With the first book, it's basically a lot of it is about veganism.
Is it? Now, let's just go. Listen, we're already doing the interview, so let's just keep going. How does that relate?
Well, basically, in any sort of Reiki practice, it doesn't matter what style of Reiki you perform, you have Reiki principles, which is the ethics behind what you do.
Awesome.
And the number one principle is to do no harm. As a Reiki practitioner, we look at it in the way of you shouldn't really cause anything to die or to suffer for your consumption.
Yes.
Now, not every Reiki practitioner sees it this way, and they'll still eat meat, eggs, dairy, wear leather, and things like that. Mm-hmm. Whereas the way I look at it is a Reiki practitioner or a healer in general should be vegan if possible, or at least try to be vegan, because this brings about the most healing in the world, the most impacts, the most congruence that you can have.
Brilliant.
Without having a true ethos of I will do no harm, I want to spread love, I want to do as little damage and impact to this delicate planet as possible, you can't have true healing. So the first book introduces how you prepare for your first attunement.
I'm sorry, for your first attunement. How to prepare for your first attunement with a Reiki master, Reiki practitioner. Is that right?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Basically,
keep going.
Looking into what you should do to really get the most out of the attunement. So I've looked into adjusting your diet guidelines, the way you look at things, the way you think about yourself, as a more positive viewpoint to create a more positive way of thinking about your life and a more positive vibration that's more in alignment to source. So cutting out some things that are harmful to the environment and your body and reducing the impact you make on this earth is all a stepping stone into becoming more spiritual, becoming more congruent to source, becoming more congruent to your own inner calling. So if you do little damage and try to do a little bit of good each day, you will live in the ethos of Reiki. You'll live in the ethos of love everyone unconditionally.
Oh, this is so great. I've never heard it explained this way. Thank you. The other principles that are significant?
Well, there is many principles. I actually have developed my own principle system within the SiReiki, which expands on Usui's principles, basically, you can find out all about this in my first book,
Mm-hmm.
because I talk a little bit about spiritual practice in the first book, just as a taster. The second book that's going to come out next year
Mm-hmm.
will further develop in this and actually contain spiritual practice to guide you on your Reiki journey. In the
It's gonna keep
in the
going.
first in the first book, SiReiki, A New Journey, we really look at how you think about the world, you think about yourself, and you think about others, and just think about the practice of Reiki, the practice of doing no harm, the practice of spreading love, the practice of loving yourself and loving everyone else. And it really just boils down to that when you simplify it, just to be calm, peaceful, loving, try to minimize dangerous emotions such as a lot of aggression, hatred, spitefulness, and
Greed,
focus on enriching emotions.
greed, jealousy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you think about Reiki principles, it's just about how can you develop yourself spiritually without having the confinement of a religion.
Yes.
That's what
I
Mr.
love that.
Missouri, he wanted people to have spiritual practice, but from any religion,
Mm-hmm.
no matter where you're from.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the very simple Reiki principles.
Wow.
And I further developed this a little bit in my own mindset and my own guidance
Mm-hmm.
and channel information with just expanding on this slightly a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And I introduced this first in SiReiki New Journey. Like I say, it also looks into how you consume, what you consume on a daily basis, how are you mindful with what you spend your money with to contribute to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks into a few things like that. This is all important to how you prepare for a life which is Reiki, because if you're living a spiritual practice, then you're halfway there.
Yes.
If you have empathy in your heart and you have joy in your heart,
Mm-hmm.
then your ability to heal others is magnified several times over. That's why the spiritual element of Reiki is important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's what I've got. Here's what I just now understand that I never understood before. I thought an attunement, when you say you're preparing for an attunement, I thought, oh, well, you just kind of, excuse me, it's just very, yeah, you just get zapped. I mean, you go to a Reiki practitioner and they zap you and you have this energetic shift, but you're talking about they're bringing the energetic shift forward within your own life.
Yes.
In halfway, it's meeting spirit halfway.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Okay. Now, of course, the subject of this podcast is how to connect with angels. And I am so curious to let's hear about your spiritual development, like your childhood. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in England,
Uh-huh.
in a small town called Padiham.
Mm-hmm.
One of my earliest memories is of a spirit in my room that I was aware of. As one of my earliest memories was of I had this camper tent and I was shouting at my brothers because the tent was shaking backwards and forwards. And I'm like, Gavin, Brett, cut it out, cut it out. It's not funny. And then I took my head outside of the tent and looked all around, and there was no one in the room, and the tent was backwards and forwards. And I quickly retired back into the tent.
Uh-huh.
I had such memories of spirit when I was a child. I could hear them. One was Christmas Eve, which is quite apt to where we are at the moment. Was I was looking for Santa's sleigh, and it was late, and I was sat on the window ledge, and I felt two hands go on my shoulders. An old lady screamed in my ear, "Get to bed! What are you doing up?" Which I was quite terrified afterwards because the old lady wasn't quite perfect as with the outline that I could see in my mind, which was quite scary. But yeah, some of my earliest memories was of having spirit interactions. I went through a period from about 2006 onwards of a deep spiritual awakening. I would say my spiritual awakening started from childhood memories, but it's kind of continued along in stages.
But 2006, was there an event?
Yes, I had like what you would class as a breakdown or an awakening or both.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I had a lot of interaction and I was getting a lot of messages on a regular basis. I was picking up on spirit all around me, angels all around me, guides all around me.
Tell me how you were picking up on it. What were the signs? You felt them.
I could hear negative spirits, positive spirits, loving entities, and source would all come through, and it kind of confused me and settled me and calmed me and made me scared all at once because it would depend what was coming through at the time. When I would notice angels, sometimes it would come through first as ringing, and then subtle energies you would notice that, and subtle thoughts would come into your mind. Other times I would hear it as if it was someone talking distantly in a room, but they was observing you, like they was looking at you. So I could notice commentary and guidance that would come through, and feelings of energy would come through. And at the time, I wasn't really in a position to be able to understand everything that was happening. It was a very disturbing time because it was accompanied by physical problems that was going on in my life at the time. It all kind of enwrapped together, and eventually I had hospital stay.
Oh man,
I wasn't very well.
Young man too. Wow.
And it was kind of really hard to summarize up in a short space of time, but each time I had this awakening. The first time it happened, it was kind of like I centered myself on my healing, and I used the Reiki symbols and my conscious effort to connect with Source and wanted peace. I wanted calm, I wanted peace, and I wanted healing, and I wanted forgiveness for anything I felt bad for from my life. I wanted peace in my heart, and I connected with Source. And what happened is I went into like a meditative state it felt like days. I don't know how long it was because time traveled very strangely during this time. And I felt utter peace of childlikeness, and I became very childlike. And I felt this joy of unconditional love inside all of me, and I spread it around. I spread the feeling of unconditional love around, which you can do as a Reiki practitioner. And I felt such peace. But what happened is I awakened during this time, and my physical body was exhausted, but my mind and spirit was evolved to another level. I had awakening, and it was very scary but very calming at the same time. It was strange. But the society wasn't used to me having a sudden shift in perspective, a sudden shift in how I communicated and how I functioned.
Yes.
And I was sectioned.
And you were kind of an outsider. You felt outsider, very different in your life.
Yes, I did felt very different. Very different.
Yes.
At the time, I was at university in a foundation degree course, and it just overwhelmed me completely. And what happens with the mind and the spirit after a while, if you go through an awakening over a long period of time, the soul, the brain, the spirit, the physical body, it all fatigues, and you come to a stage where you're not functioning correctly anymore. And it was too much to handle at the time. But eventually things settled down, and I still received guidance, and I still received energy, but I was in a much more calm position. My physical body healed, and my emotions calmed, and I strengthened my resolve. During this time, I started to work on the SiReiki system, what I wanted to do, because I had 3 separate episodes where I would class it as a big awakening.
Mm-hmm.
The second time, Amanda was present, my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and I was coming off one of my medications, and I was constantly sending out energies to the world to help people all that I could. And I was being attacked spiritually, and my angels were trying to protect me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working with my angels to try and reduce some of the impact of negativity
Mm-hmm.
in the local vicinity where I was living and in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I had this battle between negative entities and the ones that protect us, the ones that love us, the ones
Mm-hmm.
that stay by our side.
While you were in meditation, this was... Well, you were in meditation. Yeah, I got it. Okay, keep going. What happened?
So I had this emphasis in my mind that I had to do as much good as I could, because I honestly thought that I wouldn't live very long because of the way that I was being attacked. I didn't think that I would be able to get through it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sending energy to heal others at this time instead. And then I would gather compassion from myself through healing others, and then heal myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to summarize these events in a short space of time.
No, what you're saying makes exact sense, though, because your calling is to be healing others and healing yourself and helping others understand alignment and attunement and conscious choice and being able to be with the presence. And it's just so incredibly inspiring and necessary. This Reiki.
The Reiki has always been a guiding force in my life.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what I would do.
Oh man. The Reiki. I'm just so, it's like, wow, what an amazing spiritual path. Let's talk about Reiki and healing, because that's the part, that's the next, now you're writing books about that, and you work with Reiki, and I'm going to probably say everything wrong, but you work with the energy, Reiki energy?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What's the healing? How do you work that? What happens?
Okay. Basically, there's 2 ways of doing healing with Reiki. You can either work distantly, or you can work in person. Now, actually, beyond a lot of people think, working distantly can be even more powerful than working in person, because there's less constraints over what you're thinking could happen. And you're more entitled to take up angelic energy and energy from source if it's coming from yourself distantly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, with the Reiki, you can heal anything,
really?
As far as I know. Yes, in over a period of time, you can make anything recover, because you're treating the source of the problem. It doesn't mean you can magically cure any disease in the click of a hand. That is not how it works. But you can undo the cause in the energy field. You can undo the cause in your emotions, in your memories, in your spirit.
How? How do you do that?
You send energy into different areas of time and space, because energy can move anywhere through time and space relatively almost instantly. Because what happens is,
go ahead.
If you, let's say, for instance, you had a car crash, and the car crash was a really scary thing for you, and it left physical damage, but also left emotional damage related to that time. Long after the physical damage is healing up, the emotional damage is still there and still stored in your physical and energetic body.
Sure.
You need to send energy that relates from the present moment all the way to the past point when it happened to heal properly.
Yes.
Otherwise, you can still have tears in your energy field. You can still have the tears in the energy that affect the physical and affect the emotional.
Wow.
Because the physical, the energetic, and the emotional are all interlinked, and they are all treatable through the Reiki. So, let's say, for instance, you cut your face as a scar. That scar relates to an emotion. The emotion relates to a memory. All these things relate together. And through working through the energy side of healing, you really do help ease the emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And the emotion, healing the emotion and the energy heals the physical. What I'm trying to bring apart with the SiReiki is something that uses all the gifts of the earth and the heavens all together within the Usui system, but something that's slightly different than Usui. It's slightly different depending on what skills you have.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, for instance, in a Reiki system, you can use meditation, aromatherapy, crystals,
Mm-hmm.
angelic work, guide work, all together within a system that's guided within the Usui to make something alternately different. Now, the aromatherapy oils, if you're using those, they're blessed with Reiki. The angels are empowered by Reiki because you work with them, not just allowing them to help. You actually help to empower them by using symbols in the angels to help them work with you better and easier,
Mm-hmm.
and to make a stronger force to help, a more physical force.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's about using whatever gifts you can to heal someone, all empowered within the same will of Source. And that's what makes it a bit different than the Usui, but at the end of the day, all forms of Reiki have the same thing in common. They all work from Source. They all work within the angelic realm as well, even though some specialize in actually working with the angelic realm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Can I ask you your experience, or what is your relationship with the angelic realm in your life and in your work?
Well, a lot of times when I'm doing a session, I can empower the session twice as quickly by asking for help from certain angels. Angel Michael, Angel Raphael, they're my go-to angels. And they will help empower the session to heal so much quicker, especially if that person is open to it. But it goes a bit further than that, because within the system that I've developed, I actually bring in the angels every time you do a Reiki session, every time you wake up, because it's a certain way of protecting yourself. You're asking Michael to bring in his protective shield of light, his purple shield of light, just to transmute any energies that are coming through negativity, and just allow people love to transmute. It's a system of, I would say it's comes from 3 points. I am one with Source, I am one with Jesus Christ, I am one with Mother Earth, and Angel Michael's shield protects me.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
So you imagine a halo coming down, and this connects to Source, and you use the Hang Sung Station then symbol, which is the distance symbol. And imagine the halo traveling all the way down and all the way back up again, and you say, I'm with Source 3 times, and that connects to Source. Then you imagine energy coming down into your heart chakra with initials JC and the numbers 30, and you say, I'm one with Jesus. Then you imagine coming into the earth, and you use the Hang Sensation symbol again, and you say, I am one with Mother Earth. Because without using the power of the earth, the angelic realm, and Source, and Jesus is one of the mentors that I work with, you're not going to stay protected against everything in this universe. You have to stay empowered with light. You have to use all the tools that are available to you to make the most out of the energy healing. So I try doing that every time.
Wow. Simon, this is just so wonderful. It's so wonderful. It's just beautiful, beautiful work.
No one's perfect. We all learn from this life, but you have a mindful choice in your life to be who you want to be in this moment.
Yep.
And that happens from your decisions, the little decisions you make in the day. Do I want to, and with me being vegan, or at least trying to be vegan as much as hopefully possible, is making that choice in a lot of ways. It's like, I don't want to make harm to others. I don't want to make harm to this earth. And I know that the angels look down and have a closer connection with the angels and with the Reiki Source now that I am vegan. And I know that if more of us in this world were vegan, then we could solve a lot of the problems that our planet has.
Absolutely. I mean, my God, how much carbon dioxide is thrown off by cattle.
So much.
So much waste. And it's not good for you. Good God.
No.
I mean,
No.
and it's all part of another kind of meat-eating, aggressive culture. It's the old,
consuming hate.
It's the old way. It is the old way, Father. And I know you're right. I know you're right. Yeah. Wow. Simon, is there something that you like to take a moment to think about and then to say to people who are listening, who are going to find you at SiReiki.
SiReiki.org.
SiReiki.org. Great.
Well, I think if you come and message me on SiReiki.org, if you have any questions about Reiki, you want a session, please contact me on there. There's so many ways to get in touch. Also, please check on Amazon for SiReiki: A New Journey. It's going to be available free selected times this year, so keep checking. It's also on the Amazon collection for free as well.
Oh, it's free?
It's free on the Amazon collection if you're a member. Also, I put it on for free every now and again just to promote it. I have 2 more promotions left, so I think sometime before Christmas I'm going to be putting it free of charge.
Oh, man, y'all. That's just, thank you so much. It's just incredibly generous. If you benefited from this show, please, for heaven's sake, share it. If you want to hear more, go to theglitchmovie.com/podcast guests. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for listening.